Pamela.
I'm Ebong.
And I'm Kate.
And today we're dishing with you from the Darlington House, which is located in DuPont Circle at 1610 20th Street Northwest.
And our guest today is Lynda Erkiletian, who's the CEO of the Artist Agency. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
And tell us, how did you start your business?
Well, the agency actually was founded about 25 years ago, and I saw a need for an agency that primarily focused and represented talent that were models and people from behind the scenes that did hair, makeup, wardrobe, and everything, actually, food styling, prop styling, you know.
You do
really
food styling?
everything.
I never heard of that
Yes.
before. Wow.
Yeah.
I actually didn't know that was a career.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
it's someone's job, yeah.
No,
You could
it
style
is.
this food right here.
So
Right.
you were not a food stylist
No.
before you started this business.
No.
Were you a model?
I was about 1,000 years ago, and but
That's
you
not
know, not everybody's like, oh, but don't you have to be 5'9" and taller to be a model? But it's true. If you want to do runway or you want to do any kind of fashion and editorial, then yes, you do need to be 5'9" and taller. But there is a petite division and there is a plus size division, and we also have print, which you know really applies to everyone from children to. I mean, one of our oldest models was a woman in her 80s who,
Oh, wow.
you know, but she tended to work with not just our agency, but also agencies that did casting. And so we primarily just specialize in runway and print.
So correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe you're the only runway agency in Washington, D.C.
Well, I think that I believe that there are other agencies that do book what I would consider to be promotional models. Like we don't really work in a promotional venue, primarily because we're a small exclusive agency that's really looking for the top 1%, and we represent most of our models exclusively. And by doing that, we have to offer to pay within a certain period of time, and we try to run it very much like an agency would in New York, where you're on a voucher system.
Gotcha.
And you know, the majority of the agencies that need to book promotional models need hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, you know, for all the conventions and these types of things. And we really, very much like casting, I wasn't interested in doing television and film because, one, there were already agencies that were doing that very well. And secondly, because you have to have thousands of people. You know, if you're going to book extras, you have to have thousands, you know, for the most part. And I really wanted a small exclusive agency that was doing something different.
So how many models do you then represent?
Well, as of maybe Friday, about half of what I used to. No, I mean we really are cleaning the database. It's like there's a tendency to want to help everyone that you know is interested, and most of the time people have the desire, but they don't back it up with the drive.
Right.
So you end up, or at least we've ended up in a state where it's a couple times a year we look at earning reports and we decide who, you know, should stay and who should go. So in answer to your question, probably about 450 when we're done.
Wow, but that's still a lot.
That is a lot.
lot.
And in a city that's maybe not always known as a fashionable city, although we are doing our best to change that.
Yes, we are.
You know, you probably, people always come to you and ask you for fashion trends because you have a modeling agency. So, you know, what do you tell them about fashion in the city and about, you know, how we get models in the city? What do you tell them?
Well, primarily as far as fashion, I think fashion is an individual style. You'll always have trends, you know, it's what is coming out for fall is a little scary because, you know, they're really focusing on the 80s for hair, makeup, and wardrobe. And
I thought that they would never.
Decades come back.
I can't even tell you. I'm like, oh, please don't shop in your closet, you know? Like, please don't go back there, you know? At least bring in the new trends of the 80-ish look, you know? Little less shoulder pad. But, you know, as far as models go, people who are interested in modeling, they really should contact, I think, the agency by sending pictures and this sort of thing, and somebody will review it. And if we feel that they have the height and they are proportioned properly, then we'll.
But there are
we'll have
beautiful
them.
people here.
There are
Just confirm.
so
I
many
believe there are beautiful people here.
And you know, we have amazing clients. When you think about fashion, you normally think about the runway in New York, but really, Saks Fifth Avenue, Neiman Marcus,
Right.
Nordstrom's, Bloomingdale's, Macy's. I mean, all of these stores are clients, and then you have all the boutiques like Moulet and Relish, and I mean, there are just a number of people that you wouldn't think of as being clients outside of the print market, but
So it's not just always high fashion and runway work. It's, since you do a lot of other things in the fashion.
Because you call it a full service.
It's a full service. You're not just
I mean, we organize this food.
Right, exactly. Somebody styled that food.
We're gonna
No,
represent
but
for
I mean,
this.
if you think about it, everything, whether it's an editorial shoot or a straight advertisement for BMW or something of that nature, somebody has to pull the clothes, do the hair, the makeup, book the models, make sure that the area is styled properly and permits are done, and somebody has to, find the location, and all of these things are available through the agency.
Right. So you do a lot of community work too. Your agency does. Tell us about some of the partners that you have, or some of your interests that you have in the community.
Well, I think that it's extremely important when you're in business of any kind that you give back to the city that's so generous to you. And we originally, I think Fashion Group International is near and dear to my heart because I've been a member for many years, and it needs all the help it can get right now. In exposing it. The Washington Ballet is my latest, greatest, most passionate project. And
We love that one too.
Yes,
We do.
We're trying to, have a book published that we're looking to raise funds for, and really, Men Against Breast Cancer, Key to the Cure, as much as we can with, Fashion Fights Poverty, the war on AIDS, which is extremely important in the city and every city. But, it's an opportunity for us to really, truly acknowledge things that are important as a community and give back. And our models are wonderful and stylists and donate a lot of their time as well.
Well, one last parting thought. Can you give us either one trend or maybe one big store that you hope comes to DC that you really think would help us to be known as a fashionable place?
I think that we have great stores. I think we have amazing designers. They're doing tons of personal appearances. I think if anything, the one suggestion that I have is that people start focusing on menswear, men's products, and understanding that that is a market that has not been tapped in quite the way that it will be in the future. I think that's probably the newest, most interesting thing for all of us, women and men, to think about.
Well, you heard it here. DC is a fashionable city. We do have beautiful people, and now we're going to focus on the men. Thanks for watching this episode of The District Dish.